All right, so we are here today with Danny Shervin, and as an artist myself and as an art dealer, I rarely get to see artwork that really, not just the imagery, but that just kind of surprises you with the technique. What's that? I've never seen that. I've never seen it before, and so it is interesting to see a new technique. So this is Danny Shervin. He's fifth generation, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So Danny, your technique is to take gunpowder, draw with it, and set it on fire. And
that's right. I get to light things on fire for fun and work, so it's awesome. The gunpowder was an accident, really. I'd never seen anybody use it. We were in college and had a bunch of leftover gunpowder, so I laid it out on the table. Kind of just into a mountain scenery with a tree and lit it on fire to see what would happen. And it burned into our table. And so I thought it was really cool. It was like one of those, like the laminate, the old 70s and 80s laminate top cables.
Yeah.
And burned into it, and it was there for the whole year. It never went anywhere.
I guess you knew, because growing up with gunpowder and stuff with guns, that it was going to catch on fire.
Yeah, I had a good idea. I grew up, my dad reloaded when we were little, and so we were always burning stuff. So I had a pretty good idea what it was going to do.
When did you transfer to canvas?
So then I didn't do, that was, years ago, back in college, 2002, 3, something like that. And I didn't do anything with it for years after that. I went into finance and economics and did that. And then one day I was telling my wife, Jenny, about it. And she was doubting me. And I said, no, I'm telling you, I burned gunpowder on the table and it was a really cool art medium. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to prove her wrong. So I got some canvas. And just to try it on canvas to see what would, if it would burn through it, what would happen. And it ended up working.
And so it doesn't burn through the canvas. The canvas is...
mistakes can happen. Pieces get too hot. This one here, the garage door was open and the flame just rolled back on itself.
If you used too much, it would burn through.
Yeah, exactly. And there's different powders. Tons of different powders too. There's ball powders, flake powders, pellets, and they all burn at different speeds, different temperatures. Some burn way hotter than others. And so what I've come, over the years of doing this now, the ball powders get really hot and they burn super slow. And so they tend to burn right through a canvas. But the flakes, the pellets, those are relatively controllable. They don't, I can put plenty of powder on a canvas and it won't burn through.
And so the different powders, you just kind of like go to the shop, buy some powder, see how it works, set it on fire.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did, yeah.
And I would have thought that it would have been a good medium for wood.
Yeah, it is pretty good. It does work really well on wood. It's better on lighter woods, but I do a lot of wood projects. You need more powder to really get it to burn into the wood. Some of the hardwoods, it doesn't really burn into the surface. You know what I mean? It's just leftover carbon and it can brush off really easy. But I seal everything with an acrylic clear coat for that reason. But yeah, so some woods are better than others. But I like the canvas because there's more contrast between the dark and light, whereas wood's difficult sometimes. If you have darker wood too, it's just a lot harder to see. And so I like the contrast of the white.
And so have you been doing art fairs?
I haven't. I've been really fortunate to kind of have, steady work. That when I started using gunpowder as a medium, I didn't have anything. I was just doing it for fun. Created a couple pieces, and my brother-in-law was doing SEO, online marketing, and all that stuff. Yeah. He took and put a couple videos that we had produced and put them on Facebook and all the social media, website, everything. And we put a couple videos out, and they got like 15 million views in like a week. And so it just took off.
So you think this is a revolutionary kind of...
Well, when I first started doing it, I had looked into it, and I couldn't find anybody in the U.S. or otherwise. There was one guy in China, and he's extremely famous.
But it's a different...
but it's very different, yes. It's very abstract, totally different powder. A little bit of a different process, too. But I didn't know he existed when I first started doing this. So it's kind of cool to see that side of it that I hadn't seen before. And since this when it took off, I started getting emails and stuff from people that have been using it. And
so other people were doing it, but you gave them like a platform to...
I have no idea. I just got lucky, I think. Just the big lighter, the only lighter I use.
We should write Martha Stewart and tell her to help you get sponsorship.
When I very first started, this is what I was using. And then I was like, man, there's got to be an easier way. Because some of these bigger pieces, these pellets that are out there on their own, I have to go through and burn every single one individually.
Yeah.
And they get really hot and start to melt, and so that's why I have a whole bucket of them. I just fly, you know, I just
otherwise
burn for 20 seconds, put it down, grab a new one, and I'll just cycle through lighters. But I've tried Zippos, but they don't have, you know, this has a little bit of force, and so it'll get down on the canvas. The Zippos don't. It's just because it's just the lighter fluid that's on the wick, you know, so it doesn't have any force on it. And I tried like little propane burners and stuff, but it has too much power and it blows the gunpowder off the canvas.
Oh yeah.
And so like this is like as good as it gets. And I've tried the long grill lighters, but by the time the gas gets to the end of that tube, it's dissipated so much that the flame is like that big, you know, so it doesn't work. So yeah, just a standard Bic lighter is like, and everybody always gives me crap about it. But I'm like, you know what?
It's the only one that works.
It works, and it's cheap, and it's awesome.